We make our own granola.
There you go. Okay, so a couple of things that I know I want to talk about, and things that you just talked about. Um, you ready? You ready to deep dive into this crazy nonsense?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I saw a post on your Facebook recently. You and I are Facebook friends, and you encouraged people to do something that I had never thought of, heard of, and it's involving food stamps. It's involving government assistance as an entrepreneur. Um, Obviously, I think most people know that those things are there, but they don't look at it from oh, I've started a business, I could leverage and capitalize off of this type of thing. Is that something that you were um, notified about? That was a good avenue? Is it just something that you went after? Give me the backstory of kind of how all of that kind of evolved, and it's definitely something that I think is something that, well, a purpose like this, entrepreneurs, in my opinion, from the government rules and regulations, are the ones that have the hardest time, right? Everything is built for the employee. Everything is built for the teammate. And that's, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but then the person who's taking all of the risk, it's very difficult for them in many of these situations to even get a paycheck, to emotionally stick with it. You know, if you hear that 80% of businesses fail within 5 years, and we're not doing anything to help these people, like that's, but yet that's where all the jobs are. Like, it's like there's something missing there. And so when you said this, and a lot of people were supporting it, and I actually don't think I saw any hate towards it, which I was excited that you weren't canceled for it, because you know we live in such a canceled culture at this point. It was very interesting, and I was like, oh, that's there were maybe times where myself or other entrepreneurs that I know would have loved to have, you know, had some sort of like government assistance for something like that through our journeys. And so how did this become something that you took advantage of?
Well, first, let me say that one thing about me is I really pride myself on always um, taking people out of their comfort zone when it comes to my thoughts and how I approach things. And I personally, growing up, we grew up on government assistance. And my parents, though, they were like, look, you guys go and make a life for yourself. You know, you don't want to end up on these assistances because they have stipulations that keep you stuck on them. You know, I mean, there was one point where my mom, you know, used to tell us, hey, your dad is your brother. You know, don't tell people that he's your dad because then we could lose our stuff. And it just always, it kind of hurt me because I'm like, I can't just have a normal ass narrative. Y'all have to like my narrative has to be controlled by the government and how they assist us. You know, in all of our disenfranchisement and all of our poorness, they have to control us and not really give us the opportunity to propel forward. So as I grew up, as I, you know, growing and learning about money and learning about different ways that I can leverage to continue to get ahead, I started to really do my research and dive deeper and really get into the deeper perspective of these programs that are available to us. And as I started to do that, my whole perspective changed. It's like, you're not supposed to stay on these forever, but they are there to help you, and damn it, use them. You know, why struggle? Why fail when there's options out there? You know, there are grants out there. There's you know, you don't have to go and buy one can of milk for $50 or $30-$40 for your baby. There are assistance programs that are out here giving you a whole bunch of them, you know, for free. And you know, sometimes we have so much pride that we don't want to use these you know, we don't want to use these programs, or we don't want to tell people that we are using them for fear that we might lose it, or, you know, for fear of judgment or whatever. So I just put it out there so that people can let go of some of their discomfort. And also, if they didn't think it was an option, now it's an option. And do your research.
Yeah, you used the word pride a couple of times, and that's I even wrote that down as a note. Like, I mean, I feel like that's a thing, right? Like, it's knowledge of, do I have access to this, and then it's like, oh, do I want this thing?
Oh no, that's for poor people. Nope, that's for poor people. Or
but everyone, I mean, how many people took the government assistance from the COVID checks in the last year? That wasn't for, that. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there's similar things in that kind of case, right? It's an assistance program. You took the 1,216 whatever money, and then people are getting money for their children and stuff like that. It's like, why wouldn't you capitalize on that? Like, if they're going to give it to you, you're going to pay taxes on it. Like, you might as well,
exactly.
like, if you have it, go for it. Like,
because otherwise the people who don't really need it are going to end up getting it.
That's what people would say.
I mean, that's the logic.
Oh, I see. They would move that money to something else.
Yeah, it would go to things that don't really need it, or people are going to take advantage of it that don't really need it.
And I think a lot of people don't recognize, they just see the word entrepreneur, business owner, founder, something like that, and they're like, oh, that person's super successful. They don't actually, they don't have, peeled behind the onion, if they will, of that. And so it's something that I think, look, there's this allure, there's like this glitter bomb of like sparkly stuff that like is associated with entrepreneurship, but it's damn hard. And I think that having some sort of program, whether it be food stamps or something else, for that thing that creates all the jobs in the world, or in the United States of America, maybe there should be something a little bit more supportive, instead of just another educational program for people. Maybe there should be some sort of financial assistance for people. And so I appreciate that. So how long did you just jumped on it because you thought it? Because
I used them when I needed it. Yeah, I put it out there, one, because there's a whole bunch of entrepreneurs out there who do not have health care. Okay, my man has been an entrepreneur. He's had his studio for almost 12 years. He has never had health care until last year, when I said, why don't you take advantage of the marketplace? He's paying $39 a month now for his health insurance. And I'm like, this whole time you were afraid to go to, you were trying to avoid the doctor because you were afraid of a bill. Yeah. But he was paying for dental insurance, which was like, I think $20 a month or whatever. So he was keeping his teeth clean. But
you're appreciative of that, I'm sure.
Yes. But his insides were not being checked up on. He when I had the baby, he and I both caught COVID. And I'm just going to put this out there, right? But he and I both had COVID. He had just gotten health insurance maybe like a month or two before that. So imagine if he had to go into the hospital for COVID.
What was COVID like?
Everything that he's built in his business can be taken away at a snap of a finger because he didn't have health insurance.
What was the COVID experience for you? Not necessarily just like how did it like affect you, but like being away for weeks from the business perspective. Like what was the whole? Well, actually, maybe just the whole 24 months of COVID. Like what has that world been like for you? Because you opened a new shop during it. It's been wild.
Personally, I had a really good COVID experience in the beginning. I was able to close the shop for 5 months, work on some personal spiritual stuff, and really grow into my new vision. And I just learned. By
the way, I think I would also say I had a really good early COVID experience because I had nothing else to do. Like I just worked out. Yep. I was like, well, I have no excuse. I can't go to a bar. I can't go to a meeting with people. I can't go to a bad lunch. It was like, okay, the only thing I got to do is, so I'm with you on it. And I think you took advantage of that. And so good on you for that. Sorry to jump in on that.
No, you're good. That's exactly what I did. I just worked on my new, my new vision. We rebranded my boyfriend helped me rebrand, so we did that. Came up with some different futuristic ideas to help us grow in our storyline, and really just bang that out. And went on a lot of walks. I actually lived in Ghent during that time. Went on a lot of walks. Did a lot of yoga and just personal development. And yeah, I had a really good beginning COVID experience. And then once we reopened, of course, I still avoided COVID throughout the whole entire time. And so, so COVID hasn't been terrible. I took advantage of a lot of grant applications and ways to, to tap into money that was on the table for small businesses and minority owned businesses. And women owned businesses. I just continued to educate myself on everything that I could take advantage of to grow, to pivot.
What were so during that time as you reset? What were some of the things in turn that you did to innovate your business when you did open up the doors?
To innovate after I opened the doors. Okay,
Yeah.
so just honing in on that social aspect. People were missing music. People were missing live music. So we started a local set called Local Time, where we basically bring in local artists to come in, and we record them and give them some exposure. We also would build Spotify playlists of local artists and to give them exposure as well. And really just promoting healthy social interactions post-COVID. And one thing that we used to do was heartside hugs. That was our thing. People come in and they would be able to, get heartfelt welcome. And so even though we haven't been able to do that as much, we have tried to put that into our service. So I'm really big on customer service. And so everyone who walks through that door should be treated like family and should be ready to come back and claim the space as home. And then the last thing was implementing an employee program to help better retain employees, but also to support this whole entrepreneurship wave. So I actually had this idea before COVID ever happened, was to have a platform for aspiring entrepreneurs to be able to showcase their products or their skills or whatever in my space. And so I've been able to do that with my employees because they're all aspiring to do different things and to do their own entrepreneurship thing in the future. So, I kind of bring that out of them as much as possible and kind of build that rapport with the employees, but also promote that with the customers so that they know that they're supporting a business that supports their employees really heavily.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, just because you were able to do so much, I mean, it just, to me, Zack and I have talked about this many, many times on previous shows about how everyone would talk about, oh, we can't wait for things to go back to normal. And it's like, things are not going to ever go back to normal. You have to evolve your business some way in order to succeed. So you have evolved. You've brought in ways to bring in customers, keep employees, help
Innovate
with
or die.
entrepreneurs. Exactly. And whereas the people that didn't do anything, they're the ones that unfortunately have oftentimes had to shutter their business.
But they also never innovated throughout. They were the same. Like,
right.
I don't know why I'm talking about a lot of food businesses. Maybe I eat
Hey,
a lot of food.
Whatever comes up.
But I think of like Panera, right? Like Panera, I believe, really understands their customer, right? They understand, I bet if you were to talk to their kind of segmentation of who their customer is, they have the people that go in and want to go to the counter and do that. They're the people who never want to step foot in that place. Okay, we'll deliver it to their car. Oh, actually, we can deliver it to you now. Oh, the people that are super mobile. Okay, we can do it that way. So then you come in and then we'll deliver it. Like they really know that, and they've innovated throughout all of that stuff. And it's, I think people should look at that and not be like, oh, it's a big brand. It's like, what are they doing to stay relevant? What are they doing to get people to keep to keep coming in some capacity. And I think that's powerful.
To take that one step further, Zach, and it doesn't necessarily come down to which business has the most money in order to implement those changes. It really comes down to what business is able to implement it quicker than the other business and figure out what's going to work.
And even willing to talk to people about it.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that there's conversations, there's those little focus groups, there's just, looking at other stuff. I mean, you look at Chick-fil-A now, they have a third lane. I mean,
right.
Obviously people are willing to wait for something that's, to me, Chick-fil-A is a customer service business. Luv, you talked about customer service being so important. Chick-fil-A, yes, they make a chicken sandwich and it's good, whatever. But they're a customer service business, and those who suck at that customer service there, they don't make it. And I think that's powerful. All right, so sorry, Tim. Yeah.
No, I was just to take that one.